Yeah, and your memory, how it can be. It's so tricky because you remember it the way you want to remember it.
The way you want to remember it, that's right. And the emphasis you put on it is, you know, it's entirely dependent on how you feel now. I mean, I don't know about you, but I'll often look back at things that happened and I'll think, oh, I didn't realize what someone was saying to me. Or I didn't realize what someone wanted there. And then I'll suddenly replay the whole scene in my head and think, for 20 years, I've had one notion of what happened there, and I think I may have got it wrong. But even then, even that assessment of it might itself be wrong. So you sort of, it's unsettling. But it's for the purposes of doing a piece of music. There are a few things that tie into this idea of you know, the memories being slightly random, and one is the idea of you picking them from a radio station or taking odd words. I mean, I would have made this whole piece if I could. I've made the whole thing from editing together single words that I'd found on the radio. If I could have found every single thing that I wanted, I would have pieced them together and done the whole passage like that. But I could never find enough things purely over the airwaves. So I had to fill in one or two places with my own words, because it would have been, you know, it would have taken me forever to find certain things. You know, I'd find the word Wagnerian, but I might not find the word opera, or I might not find the word whatever, you know. So I like the idea of pulling all these things from the radio, because it's very like the way your memories work. You're flitting from one thing to the other.
When did you listen to all this radio, Paddy?
Well, occasionally over the years I would tape things just randomly. You know, I would tape things anyway. I'd have tapes if I was going out somewhere and I wanted to catch a program. I would leave a tape running. But the intense work went on in 98 and 99. That's when the real sort of, where I focused on it. But I would sometimes, even now, you know, if I'm writing a song, I'll sometimes put the radio on, like on a chat program, and you'll hear certain phrases, or you'll hear a word even. And I was writing a song recently, and I switched on the radio and I heard a story about the new Archbishop of England. I think they call him what's his name? God, what's the guy's name? This is terrible. I shouldn't have started this story. What's his name? Williams? The guy with the beard.
Yeah.
He's the Anglican thing. Anyway,
yeah.
It said that when he was a younger man, he went down to Greenham Common, or wherever the American bombers were, and he used to recite psalms on the runway. He would recite a psalm, and I thought, recite psalms on the runway. The psalms on the runway, this is brilliant. And I put that in a song. I thought it's like a psalm on the runway. It's like a prayer in a place of war, or in a place of, you know, where people may, from where people may attack. And so I've always encouraged that kind of an accident. But megahertz was just, it's been over the years. I would just go and dig up an old tape and I'd listen to something and I'd think, could I make something from that sentence or that word? Would it go with something else? But it took me a long time to get exactly what I wanted, but if I got 2 or 3 sentences that were close to what I wanted, I would sometimes fill in the last bit myself. You know, I'd write some things in. So it's not every single piece of it is from a radio broadcast.
Have you actually the only piece where you sing yourself is also moving. So I'm Lost.
I'm Lost, yeah. That was I split the record up into 2 halves. I Troll the Megahertz is 1 half, and then the rest of the songs were they go under the title Sleeping Rough. That is the sort of collective title for tracks 2 to 9. And I had an idea, which is something I abandoned, but I had an idea about an industrialist. I had like a small movie in my head that I was going to do the soundtrack for. I had a story, and he was an industrialist who basically gives everything away, and he goes and lives in a forest somewhere. And I thought, for each part of his life there'd be a piece of music, and so Esprit de Corps was the office building that he worked in, very busy, and everyone was doing their part of the job. And then I went through the story and I got pieces of music, almost like you were writing a soundtrack for a film. And I felt that at some point he should have a song, and that is the song where he goes and lives in the forest, in the tent. And then I took the story away. I threw that all away because perhaps I've said too much about it. I don't really want to spoil it for everyone else, but it's nice. I like things you can listen to and wonder what the writer was meaning.
I was expecting to meet you with
the beard.
With the beard,
Yeah,
because I've seen pictures of it.
No, that's just pure laziness, really. It's pure laziness, the hair and the beard. But no.
You had gone through operations.
Yes.
With your eyes.
Yes, my eyes are. My eyes. I mean, this is. I mean, I probably wouldn't have got on with megahertz if I didn't have eye trouble. Really, my retinas detach of their own accord, and when they've been healed or when they're repairing, you're not meant to sit forward. You're not meant to sit like this, because the gravity will pull your eyes and tear the retinas again. So you're supposed to lie down. Really, that's what you're supposed to do. A certain position, which is perfect for listening to the radio. And so yes, I just turned it. I tried to turn it to my advantage, really, not being able to see properly. But I'm okay now. I mean, they've patched me up good and proper.
In what way do you think, Paddy, that has the music and the work with Atroll the Megahertz been affected by having these problems with the eyes?
Well, if you can't work in the way that you used to, I think it does make you make other decisions, And I didn't feel like for a long time. Let me put it like this: I love to write on a computer. I enjoy that, but it wasn't great with my eyes. I couldn't see clearly enough. So I had to leave that, which meant that I had to focus on something else other than the music. I could have written on guitar, and sometimes I did. In between megahertz and the music of Sleeping Rough, in between all of that, I would still occasionally play the guitar, because again, that is something you can do, without any great strain to your eyes. But it wasn't the kind of music that I wanted to do. So for long periods of time, I would just take the time to think about the sort of the text for megahertz. So rather than writing a 3-minute piece of music and then try and stick the words on top of it, for a long time I just focused on something else, which I could do without being able to see brilliantly. I could just listen to the radio and think, okay, I'll use some of that, and then I'd listen to some more, and I'd tape some more conversations, and that would give me ideas. So I suppose really it's forcing you to do something just slightly different.
Yeah, because I remember that Brian Eno, when he started
Absolutely.
working with ambient music, it was after an accident and he was hospitalized. So he was lying there.
He couldn't get up to turn the thing up. No, that's right.
And as everyone knows who has been through an accident, whenever everything goes so slowly.
That's right.
So
that's absolutely right. I mean, I'm trying to think of the exact circumstances where I am for megahertz as well. Sometimes a piece of music that you will write will be in a direct reaction to what you've just done. With me, it wasn't a reaction to the last record, because chronologically, Atroll and Megahertz, I wrote that before The Gunman and Other Stories, before we made that record. Sorry, I've lost track of what I was going to tell you.